When you think about the biggest technological shift happening right now, maybe in all of human history, there's really one person right at the center of it all, Sam Altman. And he's a bit of a paradox. To really get a handle on why so many of us feel this unease about where AI is headed, you kind of have to understand him first. I mean, this is the guy, the CEO of OpenAI, who basically yanked artificial intelligence out of the labs and dropped it right into our laps with ChatGPT. Suddenly, it wasn't just some nerdy thing for researchers anymore. He literally put it in our hands. And because of that, there's no question, he is one of the main architects of whatever our future is going to look like. But that's where the big question mark comes in, right? It's the central problem we're digging into here. As he's building this future for us, can we actually trust him with it? Because the faster we hand over bits and pieces of our world to these AI systems, the more this feeling of, unease just keeps growing. And this isn't just about cool new tech. No, this is about power. It's about control. And it's about the absolutely mind-bending speed of it all. And you know what's wild? Altman himself gets it. He said it perfectly. He basically said, if someone from 2020 saw the AI we have today, they'd think it was completely insane. And yet, we're all just kind of acting like business as usual. That's coming from him. So, yeah, this is not some slow and steady, cautious approach. He's the accelerationist in chief, pushing the pedal to the metal at a speed that's, frankly, both amazing and kind of terrifying at the same time. Just think back for a second to before the end of 2022. For pretty much everyone, AI was still basically sci-fi, right? Stuff you'd see in the movies. And then, boom, ChatGPT launched. And it felt like almost overnight, the entire planet just woke up and saw what this stuff could really do. This was not just another app on your phone. It was a massive global shockwave. It was that moment where it felt like the future just skipped a few chapters and landed right on our doorstep. So what's the end game here? What's driving this insane pace? Well, the official vision sounds amazing, almost utopian. The goal is to build what they call artificial general intelligence, AGI. And just to be clear, that's an AI that's smarter than any human at everything. And they say it's all for the benefit of humanity. Altman is convinced this isn't some far-off fantasy. He thinks it's almost certain to happen in the next 10 years. But here's a real head-scratcher, the paradox at the heart of it all. His argument for going so fast: he believes the only way to make sure this incredibly powerful tech is safe is to just build it, to get it out there as fast as possible so we can all sort of learn to live with it as it grows. It's a wild idea for sure. Okay, but that relentless move fast philosophy, it ended up creating a massive crack right down the middle of OpenAI itself. And that crack blew wide open for the whole world to see during the infamous boardroom coup in November 2023. This was way more than just office politics. It was a total crisis of trust at the very top. I mean, just look at how absolutely chaotic this was. It's wild. So on Friday, November 17th, the board just fires him. Out of nowhere. By Sunday, you've got the big money investors freaking out and demanding he come back. Then, on Monday, more than 500 employees basically say, bring Sam back or we all quit. They were ready to just gut the place. And by Wednesday, it's all over. Altman is back in the CEO chair, and the board that tried to oust him, pretty much gone. The whole thing was a 5-day soap opera that absolutely rocked the tech world to its core. So what was the reason? Why did they fire him in the first place? Well, the official statement was that Altman was not consistently candid in his communications, which is, corporate speak for, we don't think he's telling us the truth. But the real story, the one bubbling under the surface, was this deep, fundamental clash of ideas. It was a philosophical schism, a battle between the part of the board that was screaming safety first and Altman, who was all about pushing forward, commercializing, and growing as fast as humanly possible. And if you want a perfect example of just how bad that communication breakdown was, get this. A former board member, Helen Toner, said that the board found out about the launch of ChatGPT on Twitter. Yeah, like the rest of us. Let that sink in. The board of directors for the company launching arguably the most important product of the decade learned about it from a social media post. For a group whose entire job is to oversee this world-changing technology, that's not just a slip-up, that is a massive, massive breach of trust. And the consequences of that whole mess didn't just stay in the boardroom. Oh no, it sent a shockwave through the entire company. It basically signaled a huge shift in OpenAI's culture, and it led to this exodus. The very people whose job it was to be the guardians of AI safety, they started heading for the door. And this quote from Jan Leik, who was a top safety leader there before he quit, just lays it all out. He said,
Over the past years, safety culture and processes have taken a backseat to shiny products. I mean, wow, that's not just a polite disagreement, that's a five-alarm fire bell being rung by someone on the inside, warning that the company's priorities were getting seriously out of whack.
And the dominoes fell fast after that. Ilya Sutskever, the co-founder who actually led the charge to fire Altman, he was gone. Jan Leik, that key safety guy, he resigned, very publicly. And then, the big one, the super alignment team, the whole group whose entire purpose was to figure out how to control a future superintelligence, was just dissolved, gone. The message couldn't have been clearer. The side that wanted to go fast, no matter what, had won, decisively. So this internal civil war between go fast and be safe is now totally out in the open. And it's fueling this much bigger public debate about trust, about some of the contradictions we're seeing, and what Altman's ultimate plan even is. And honestly, you see people interpreting his actions in two completely different ways. And the contradictions can look pretty glaring. On the one hand, you have Sam Altman in public calling for regulation, even talking about needing a big international agency for AI safety. But then on the other hand, you hear all these reports that OpenAI is lobbying against regulations, and at one point even threatened to pull out of Europe because of their new AI laws. Now, his defenders would say, hey, that's not a contradiction. They argue he's all for big picture global rules to stop a rogue super AI, but he's against smaller national laws that he thinks will just stifle innovation right now.
A lot of this conflict is just baked right into how the company is built. OpenAI has this really, really weird structure. It's a for-profit company that's controlled by a non-profit parent. The idea was supposed to be the best of both worlds, right? Use the power of a business to fund this grand mission to help humanity. But in practice, it just created this constant ticking time bomb of attention between the pressure to make money and the mission to keep everyone safe.
And look, this whole pattern of pushing the envelope really fast, it's not just about OpenAI. You can see Sam Altman's ambition on full display with his other massive, and frankly, way more controversial project, WorldCoin. So what is WorldCoin? Well, the idea is to create a global ID system for everyone on Earth. And how do they do it? By scanning everyone's eyeball, their iris, with this shiny chrome sphere called the orb. And yeah, if that immediately sends up some dystopian red flags for you, you are definitely not alone. This project has been banned or is under investigation in countries all over the world. We're talking Kenya, Brazil, Germany, France, all over massive privacy and data concerns. Critics have called it a dystopian project, an extractivist economic system that preys on people with few legal protections. And why does this matter in our story? Because it shows a clear pattern in how Altman operates. Launch huge, world-changing projects first and worry about the social consequences and oversight later. Okay, so let's zoom out. You take the incredible speed of development, you add in the boardroom drama, the safety experts all quitting, all the contradictions. And when you put all those pieces together, you end up with something much bigger. You get this deep cultural unease that a lot of us are feeling right now. At this point, Sam Altman isn't just a CEO anymore. He's become a symbol. He's the face of this idea that the AI future is coming, full steam ahead, whether we like it or not. He symbolizes technological inevitability, and he also represents the immense, almost scary, concentration of power it takes to build this stuff. Power that's held by just a handful of people and companies. And that really makes you wonder, right? Is the issue here really just one guy, or is there something bigger going on? Some critics make a really compelling point. They say maybe Altman is just a symptom rather than a cause. Maybe he's just the kind of person who naturally rises to the top in a system that rewards you for showing contempt for laws, for moving fast and breaking things, even if the things you're breaking are as important as public trust and safety. And so all of this leaves us with the one big final question. In this massive race to build superintelligence, this race that's being led by people like Sam Altman, are we actually the ones in the driver's seat? Are we really steering this thing? Or, in our mad dash to just go faster and faster, have we already handed over the wheel and are just letting the technology itself take us wherever it wants to go? And honestly, that's the paradox and the real source of the unease that we're all living with right now.